Here's a picture I drew quite some time ago, brothers and sisters. One of the first ones, as a matter of fact, of our boy Luffy. And he's over here poised, looking like a Calvin Klein model with his shirt flying open, looking to kick some arse. But hope you enjoy it, and if you do, follow me. One Piece, Chapter 146, Battle to Defend the Kingdom. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-packed tale of One Piece. As you can see clearly by me waving this here volume in front, we had finished in the last chapter, volume 16, and starting volume 17. So we're definitely cruising right along over here. I know that in the big scheme of things, it's only a small percentage, but we are certainly making forward progress every day. So the last chapter and volume left us hanging a bit with after the 4 or 5 chapter flashback showing Dr. Hiruluk and Chopper, of course, his background and his upbringing, how he came to be, and just sort of to tie everything in to what's going on now. The last couple of pages, or the last page actually, like a double page spread, was coming out of that flashback and Luffy just popping Wapol right in his big ugly mug. So that's where we left off. That's where things begin over here, and Luffy, of course, knocks Wapol on his ass. His subordinates Chess and Kuro are like, "Oh no, you struck King Wapol," and blah blah blah, And then it's funny because all of a sudden Luffy goes and notices, and of course Sanji's out there standing with him shoulder to shoulder, and Chopper and Dr. Kureha. And they say, "Man, aren't you cold? It's cold out here." And this has kind of been the theme that's been running through this whole Drum Island thing ever since they got there. Luffy is just so overwhelmed with the snow and all the other stuff, he doesn't seem to notice the cold like other people do. So they point out that it's very cold, and all of a sudden Luffy's like, "Oh God, it is cold," and completely takes his mind off of the battle at hand, right? And he's like, "Man, whew, boy," and they're like, "You just noticed that now? It's 50 below out here. What the hell?" So, a few pages into the chapter, Luffy literally turns around and walks back into the castle, and they're like, "What the hell?" Because now Chess and Kuro, they've been ordered, of course, by Wapol to attack, and they're like, "What the hell? Where's this guy going?" And Sanji's like, "Don't worry, he'll be right back. He's got to go get some warm clothes." And these are just the comical things, the very funny things that I find that just have me rolling with laughter, because here, it's in the middle of this battle. And Luffy's like, whoa, hold on a second, brother. I'm cold. I gotta go get a jacket, or some boots. so he takes off, goes in the castle, and then we go and we see Kuro. He comes at him with the Marimo static cling, and he's the guy with the afro, right? And this is one of the coolest uses of like a power that I have ever seen. It's a little goofy, like some of Oda's characters and the powers they have, but he goes and he like takes like a ball of hair, almost like a hairball from a cat or something, an afro ball, if you will, right? With his he's got his shine and his Jerry curl juice and whatever he's got going on in there, right? And he throws this thing, like it's a football or like it's a baseball, and he throws it at it right in Sanji and Chopper's general direction, and and Sanji goes to like kick it, like, "I'm gonna knock it away," and the thing sticks to him, and he's like, "What the hell?" And I just picture, it doesn't do it justice sometimes in the manga, but I just picture him sitting there like shaking his leg, like, "What the hell?" trying to get this thing off of him. And he's like, "Of course it's a static cling ball," so he goes and throws a bunch more at him. Chopper goes, and it's kind of cool because they recognize Chopper as, from 6 years ago, the creature that Dalton kind of fought off and ultimately let go, that had come to rescue Dr. Hiruluk, because he goes and kind of hulks up, and that's what I like to call it when he does his, his move there or whatever you want to call it, his special power, because all of a sudden his head stays the same size, right? But his body's just like, so it completely reminds me of like the Hulk, just hulking up, but he can, do it at will, it seems like, get larger, shrink. So he hulks up, and they're like, "Oh, the creature that that was here with Dr. Hiruluk," they recognize him, kill him too. So he's trying to go and he's trying to help Sanji go and pull these static balls off and everything. And the whole exchange is just very funny because it's, like I said, it's in the middle of this whole fight while everybody's, trying to attack each other. And initially it was Dr. Kureha that the Afro balls were aiming for, and it was actually Sanji and Chopper both that kind of stepped in, standing up and defending her, And because I don't know exactly what, if anything, that she can do other than cackle and make smart ass comments. So then we go back into the castle, right? And of course Nami's still laid up. She's sick. She feels better, but she's still sick, and she's on bed rest. Per doctor's orders, and Luffy comes charging in, and she's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it." And he's like, "It's just really cold, I need my clothes, And she's like, "Well, go ahead and take my coat." And he goes, "No, that's not cool enough." And she's like, "Yeah, but it's warmer than yours." And he's like, "Oh, are you sure?" And so he grudgingly takes this, and she's like, "But what's going on out there?" And he's like, "Oh, no big deal, just a fight." So nothing to worry about. Go back to sleep. So Luffy thinks that little of this piece of garbage Wapol and his, and he even makes fun of him earlier about how you're a king, and he's like, he's like, you're an idiot. And again, just real funny exchange. So then we go back to outside, and we have Chopper is now trying to go, and these Afro balls, these static cling balls, are flammable, right? So Chess goes to pull out his arrows to do like a flaming arrow thing to light them on fire, and Sanji's like, "Oh shit, they're gonna light me on fire." Well, now Chopper's all hulked up, and Chopper goes and comes right after Chess, and he just goes wham to nail him, And then all of a sudden you hear, "Look out, Chess!" And you see like these giant chompers, because we know with the Munch Munch fruit, Wapol can get his mouth big, right? And he just kind of comes just devours Chopper. And I actually had to read it a couple of times to see what happened at first, because Correa's like, "Chopper!" And it cuts away, and I'm like, well, did he hit him? Did he just nail him? Did he eat him? Because Chopper was obviously in his big hulked up form. But so he winds up eating him. Luffy goes and shows up at that point, kind of in the doorway to the castle, maybe 50 feet away or something like that. Sanji goes and turns around, and he's just like, "Luffy!" He's like, "Grab my leg with your hands, stretch out and grab my leg with your hands." And there was also an exchange earlier too when Luffy left that I kind of forgot to mention. That was funny, but yet at the same time was touching, because the theme for Chopper has been that he's this monster, right? That's what everybody calls him. Well, he asks about Luffy, and he can stretch out, and his powers, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "What is he?" And Sanji's like, "I don't know. He's basically a monster." So he tries to fluff it off and make it out to Chopper like, "Listen, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. He's unique. He has unique powers. He's called a monster by many, but he's this great person. So you can be too." That's kind of what I took from that. But anyway, so Luffy goes and stretches out his arms and grabs onto Sanji's outstretched leg. And then he's like, "Oh, okay," and he goes and he does this move where he uses Luffy's arms and the momentum of his, stretching arms or what have you, to go and then just go and wham, and he's going to get up and he's going to nail Wapol, he's going to go and fly at him and nail him. And he winds up, and he's trying to basically jar Chopper loose is what he's trying to do. Luffy goes and adds some twists as well to it, so there's more momentum going forward, and Wapol just gets knocked and laid back, And as he gets laid back, Chopper, now in his cute little fluffy reindeer form, I just want to get like a little doll of this little guy, man. I tell you, I'm not a stuffed animal collector or anything like that, but he's just an adorable little fucker when he's little, But then when he hulks up, he looks kind of like a weird mutated thing that I'm not really too fond of. So I've got mixed feelings, but overall I liked his backstory. So it made me tear up more than once. So the chapter ends shortly after that. Wapol gets nailed, and Chopper comes flying out of his mouth. And like I said, this kind of a balls to the wall action packed chapter, which is really cool. Really great way to start off the great way to start off the volume over here, and I certainly enjoyed it. And then as of course that happens, and that move had been performed by Sanji on him, and I forget exactly the name of it. There's so many of them now, but but Wapol goes and it kind of flies back, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and they're thinking everything's good. And at the end of it, Wapol goes and he gears up for the ultimate Munch Munch. I forget what the hell this power thing is called. For the life of me, it bothers me when I cannot remember these things, and I just had it in my head. The Munch Munch Factory. And I should have remembered that too, because you could just turn that around and make it so dirty if you wanted to. So, but anyway, so that's what he does. He's kind of like, prepare for the Munch Munch Factory. So I have no idea what that is. I could think of all kinds of theories on it, but we're going to find out in the next chapter. So the chapter question that I have for you, brothers and sisters, is here we go. We started off this volume, and I cannot remember a volume up this. I'd have to look through all of them, but I can't remember one that's really just kind of started out like this. And I really think that it's neat, because I've noticed that some volumes have 9 chapters, some have 10 or 11. And I'm sure that a lot of that was done intentionally to go and leave you on a certain cliffhanger, and then maybe. So I think maybe like they got it by the 16th or 17th volume. They finally kind of figured it out and figured out the good formula to where like, all right, you know what? Let's just start this one off with a bang. So if a reader just picks this one up, they'll just start off right in the midst of an action scene, you know. And so that's kind of how it started out. But let me know what your thoughts are on that, on the first chapter, of course, of this new volume. Do you think, am I just looking too much into things? Have I been doing this too long? Am I going a little crazy? Or do you think that this one started out with more action than we're used to seeing at the beginning of a volume in the first chapter? Leave your answers to the comments down below, brothers and sisters. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it. And, geez, I'm losing my voice by the end of the damn review over here, so I gotta tone it down. And hit the subscribe button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation. As always, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for watching, sharing, liking, comment, and subscribing. Without you, this just couldn't be possible. So we'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.